perfect combination of Russ and Justin Fields for this game?
Well, I'm glad we're open to it now. I think now's a good time to spring it on people. I don't know if there's a perfect combination, but what I've advocated for throughout the course of the season, and I'd say the same thing now, is there's a package of plays, but it's not like just gadgety plays for Justin, but a legitimate, maybe it's 10 plays, but a nice package that complements each other, so that when you bring him in, you've got the threat of the quarterback-driven runs, you've got all the things that he does really well, and the way that he puts pressure on defenses, which you have to defend totally different than the way you defend Russell Wilson. So now if you're Baltimore and you've got to get ready for him, and you've got to have a Justin Fields package and then your defensive package for Russell Wilson, that splits time in terms of preparation. That also has to create awareness defensively. Who's in the game? The pass rushers can't have one consistent pass rush pattern, because if you pass rush that way against Justin Fields and create lanes that Russell Wilson can't exploit, Justin Fields is going to kill you. So you want to be able to bring it in enough so that the defense is always having to respond to you, as opposed to, throw them in for one play, see what happens, pull them out. I think you want to give them enough of a taste to where they've got to defend the run, they've got to defend the pass, they've got to defend the quarterback-driven run. There's some play action off of it, and then see what happens. And if one is hitting a little bit more, you want to make sure there is enough for Justin, so that if it's hot, you can keep going to it.
No, I agree. I agree with all that, because everything you said, plus, what do you have to lose at this point? Like, they're not expected to win. Mm-hmm. They're 10-point underdogs, and as Nick showed, they've been getting blasted in these playoff games. So I think, Coach, the reason those numbers were like they were when they get down big in the playoffs is because they've overachieved in the regular season, and then they get in the playoffs and they're facing a more talented team and they get beat down. And I think that will happen this year. So if you're in that situation, why not try to throw a monkey wrench into the whole situation and see if you can catch Baltimore slipping? So I think it's smart.
The only argument against, in my opinion, doing what Coach had been suggesting throughout is, man, even though Justin Fields might add some dynamic plays to our offense, he also could potentially add some super negatives that Russell Wilson's going to prevent. The problem,
except last game where Russell had the 2 turnovers.
Well, that's the exact point I was going to make. Not just last game. Against the Chiefs, throws the pick in the end zone. Now maybe that's Pickens' fault because he didn't run his route. Certainly wasn't anyone's fault that Russ, when he was scrambling, set the football on the ground. Like, now they ended up recovering that fumble, but that was like, Russ has, during this stretch of bad play, and I don't know if we can show Russ. Basically, the line of demarcation is why I'm having the last 4 games. It's right around the time Wild City's an MVP of the league.
Well,
you're 6-1. You're 6-1.
What do you want to do? A lot.
And so, and again, the touchdown interception ratio, I really think that undersells how reckless he's been with the ball.
He's losing it.
And so that's why it's like, okay, if Russ is going to be reckless with the football, then we might as well, allow Justin with the athleticism on the field. And Coach, since they made Russ the starter, Justin Fields has thrown 1 pass and run the ball 7 times. That's it. He has basically been as little used as any team's backup quarterback, is, and that does seem.
I don't agree with that.
Right,
either.
that seems to be a mistake.
The whole season.
Yeah.
I think if they had played him the whole season in a package, going into the playoffs, they'd be so much better positioned to exploit teams' weaknesses.
Okay, listen, I really just wholeheartedly disagree with this, and I've disagreed with Mangini from the jump, because he talked about this in the offseason. As soon as they had both those quarterbacks, like, he talked about having them both, and I just disagree with it. Trying to bring in Justin Fields in random downs and stuff like that during random drives, it actually cost the Steelers a game against the Browns. It makes no sense. I mean, Justin Fields is not good enough. And he's not good enough to be able to be thrown into a middle of the game and have him be able to be efficient. He has not proven to be good enough to do that when he's the starting quarterback. So you think you can just throw him in there in a random drive in a key moment? The score is 14-14 going into the 4th quarter, and you're going to say, all right, Justin, you haven't done anything in weeks and months and years, and here you go, buddy. Like, what are we saying here? Like, I just wholeheartedly disagree. If Justin Fields is good enough to get the job done, then he should be the starter. But he's obviously not. And so now if you throw him into this situation, you're now putting the team in a spot to have to play with the quarterback that's not the best quarterback for the team in that moment. And why would you do that? The team wanted Russ. They were begging for the change. Because with Justin Fields, the offense could not get going. Had exactly zero momentum. Zero momentum. Justin Fields got to play the whole game against the Cowboys. He cost them that game. I mean, he's just, Justin Fields needed a whole year, essentially, of being a rookie quarterback again. He needed to learn and grow and develop. That's what this year was. I said that before they even, got Russ, I think. Or no, I take that back. Russ was there first. Whatever it was in the very beginning, before it was even known that Justin Fields was going to be able to start, because then Russ went down. That's what it was. I was like, I think Justin Fields should sit the whole season. Treat him like he's a rookie quarterback. Like a young rookie quarterback, and he has to completely learn all over again. Again, I said this in my previous video, you can see the difference between Justin Fields and Russ. Russ knows without a shadow of a doubt how to run that offense. Justin Fields does not. He just doesn't. And you're going to do that against the Baltimore Ravens? With Lamar Jackson on the other side? What? Doesn't make sense. The way you win this game is not by just hopes and dreams behind Justin Fields. It's with the high level, high experience, long resume of Russell Wilson. The experienced veteran. The guy who's been to multiple Super Bowls. The one we know without a shadow of a doubt can get the job done. You put in Justin Fields, you're just hoping. You're hoping for some magic. You're not relying on the talent. There's the difference. And a quarterback like Justin Fields will always make people think that there's that chance, because he is so dynamic, so athletic, that you really do feel like, oh my God, if we could just harness that. Justin Fields has made plays that you're like, that's Lamar, that's Josh Allen, that's Patrick Mahomes, but he's not that quarterback. And this is why defensive head coaches, they always go in the wrong direction with this sort of thing. So it's not surprising that you have Mike Tomlin and Mangini saying hey, let's do this. Would Andy Reid do this? Would Kevin O'Connell do this? Would Sean McVay do this? Would Sean Payton? I mean, Sean Payton did it a little bit, obviously, with Drew Brees, but that was when Drew Brees was near the end. And he needed to do something to kind of invigorate it. But that's a really smart offensive head coach who now knows how to balance this all out. I don't think the Steelers are in that position at all. So again, maybe if you had a special offensive mind, then I would trust it more. If you had a Ben Johnson, right? Or just the coaches that I named, Andy Reid, Sean Payton, then you could make the argument. And I understand, because the argument is if you bring up Sean Payton and see what they did with a little bit of Drew Brees near the end. But at that point, Drew Brees was about to retire. Sean Payton is an elite offensive mind. And he knows how to balance these things out. And even then, it still wasn't good enough to win under those circumstances. Sean Payton wasn't at his best when he was kind of utilizing, oh man, the guy's name completely slipped my mind. Taysom Hill? Is that his name? I completely forget now. So, I just don't think that the Steelers have the offense, that they have the offensive identity, that they have the culture, again, offensive culture, the play calling, the play designs, the creativity. I don't think they have any of that to be able to use Justin Fields in a way that complements this team. I just don't think it. I really, really don't. And you end up wasting downs. That's what they've done with Justin Fields. That's what they did against the Cleveland Browns. Yes, this has been a bit of a lull for Russell Wilson. but you made him your starting quarterback for a reason, because you know he's the better quarterback. So why are you going to sacrifice downs to put in an inferior quarterback when every single down, every single drive is going to be crucial and so important? If there's a lot of juice in Justin Fields, then start him. If he's showing that he's better than Russell Wilson, then start him. But clearly that's not been the case. So clearly we know that the Pittsburgh Steelers believe that Russell Wilson is a better quarterback. And if that's the conclusion that the team and the coaching staff has made, then do not waste downs by putting in a quarterback that's not as good. It makes exactly zero sense. Just because you're like, well, defenses have to play him a little bit differently. Okay, and you have no confidence that that quarterback will be able to get the job done. Because if you had the confidence that he could get the job done, then he would be the starter. He would be the starter. So no. No. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about this idea of incorporating Justin Fields into this offense? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.